We are discussing the elements that have to be excluded from notes and in summary. Notes and summary. Supposing the author says or writes, meteorite as big a meteor let me correct the spelling, a meteorite as big as a football field, as big as a football field, fell in the Chelyabinsk region of Russia. The main piece of information is a meteorite fell in the Chelyabinsk region of Russia. And in order to help the readers understand, the author has made use of this analogy, of this comparison. And when the author forwards or gives this kind of comparison, he, that is the reader, is immediately able to visualize the size of the meteorite. However, if you see, the main piece of information is a meteorite fell in the Chelyabinsk region of Russia. Now, this particular piece of information has inside it a secondary piece of information as big as a football field, which is a comparison. And this particular secondary piece of information has been separated from the main piece of information by way of commas. In place of commas, I can have two dashes. I can have brackets also, they say. I can also have brackets, they say. So here, as big as a football field can be separated from the main piece of information by way of commas, as you see. I can have two dashes in replacing commas. I can have brackets. Now, and these dashes, commas are called parentheses. These two dashes, two commas, two brackets are called parentheses, from which we derive this particular phrase, parenthetical information. Which is not the main piece of information, hence should not find a place in notes. It should not find a place in notes. Now, you may take another example. The bus, loaded with passengers, leaves at 7 in the morning. Again, I can have by way of a change commas here. Two brackets here in place of commas. Again, the main piece of information, the bus leaves at 7 in the morning. Because to a daily commuter, whether the bus is loaded with passengers or not is a secondary piece of information. It's not all that relevant. It's not all that important. What is important is the timing of the bus. So here again you have a secondary piece of information separated from the main piece of information by way of commas, and such pieces of information are not to be included in notes. Now, So, when we go through the passage, I must look for the main points. The main points means points bereft of these 7 elements that I have talked of: examples, analogies, repetition, anecdotes, assumptions, parenthetical information, and author's opinion. They have to be excluded. They cannot go. Now, and whatever the remaining piece of information is, that has to be reduced to either a word or a phrase. And these words or phrases have to be arranged in the fashion as you see on the screen. You see, all the numbering is there inside the margin. Besides that, the important thing is these heads and subheads, have been arranged in a ladder-like fashion. They've been arranged in a ladder-like fashion. And this is important from examination point of view, which this particular ladder-like fashion, that is referred to as indentation. You don't have indentation, you are not given marks for format. You don't have words or phrases and you have sentences, again you are penalized. You're not given marks. Now, as I said earlier, these will be arranged in the manner as you see on the screen. However, you may make use of a ray diagram also. You may make use of ray diagram also. Or the numbering can also be arranged in other manners. But the manner, you may use Arabic numerals for heads and English alphabet for the subheads, but the order must be consistent, but the usage must be consistent. The next important thing is that you have to use abbreviations. It is compulsory. The usage of abbreviations is compulsory. The usage of abbreviations is absolutely important, because the question in exam specifies a minimum use of 3 abbreviations, and you may use standard abbreviations, or you may use acronyms. You may also use acronyms. Now you need to understand the difference between abbreviations and acronyms. See, those abbreviations which have now been accepted, which are now accepted as words, for example, UNESCO, UEFA is an acronym. Which have not been accepted as abbreviations, which have not been accepted as words, are referred to as abbreviations. Or you may also use your own abbreviations.